Good morning, everybody. I'm Micheline from Americana Long Arm Quilting. We do custom quilting and long arming, and you can find a link to our website in the description below. If you go to our website, you can find lots of fun things. Not only can you get a quote for long arming, or a quote for custom quilting, you can also find some fabric that we have for sale on there and our patterns. We give our patterns some really good prices. They range from free to about $10, $12. Most of them are in the $3 or $4 range. They are PDFs, so you have to download that to your computer. Okay, so we'd love it if you'd go check that out. Today is another in our series of just a block. So you know what that means. I've got my little card deck and I'm going to pick out a block to do. Okay, this one is jewelbox. That's what it looks like. So I'm going to do a little bit of research on the computer and see what we can find about jewelbox. Then we'll get our fabric picked out and make a block. I've done my research, not a lot tied to this one. The exact origins of it are unclear. It gained popularity in the earliest 20th century as a simpler pattern that looks more complex than it is. And that's really what I was finding when I was looking through Barbara Brackman's encyclopedia. I looked up anything that had the word jewel box, anything like that. And they are all almost a kaleidoscope looking jewel. So I think that's maybe a different block. The ones that were called jewel box were, let me see, where was that one? Again, see, the one that said jewel boxes were still very kaleidoscopy looking to me, which is a beautiful, beautiful quilt. Another one that said jewel box was just almost like just 2-inch squares in jewel tones and highly contrasting. That's one thing about this block that I found consistently was use high contrasting fabrics, and oftentimes jewel toned fabrics were used to kind of emphasize that it was a jewelry box, right? And so I went back and studied the history of early 20th century jewelry boxes, because that's obviously kind of where it got its name in the earliest 20th century, was from jewelry boxes. So I went and looked at that, and indeed, in the earliest 20th century, jewelry boxes designs were going from the highly Victorian, very ornate looking jewelry box to maybe a little bit more simpler modern design, and they were celebrating nature, which doesn't really gravitate towards this, but they were also gravitating towards geometric designs, which I think is where this comes in. So that's a little bit about the history that I could find on the jewel box. Okay, so we are going to use jewel tone fabrics. We're going to use high contrast, just as it shows here. This is going to be a very high contrast fabric. And let me show you those now. Let me see, did I miss anything? I don't think so. Great for scraps, because the high willow, great for scraps. You could see her nose just there. Because they're, little pieces and 9 patches and 4 patches and things like that. So a lot of them used their scraps on this. Anyway, these are my jewel tones with my high contrast. I'm going to use this for the 2.5-inch squares. And the reason I'm using that is because it will look really scrappy, because every square that I cut is going to show a little bit different color. So this was my focal fabric that I decided on. This is going to be my high contrast fabric, and then I needed 2 more fabrics, and I'm going to use those, and I think those will be really pretty. All right, I need some 2.5-inch squares and some 5-inch squares. I'm going to get those cut, and then I'll show you how it all comes together. I have an A, B, C, and D fabric. A and B are 5-inch squares. You need one of each for one block of the jewel block. And of C and D, I have my 2 nice contrasting fabrics here, and they're 2.5-inch squares, and you need 4 of each for your jewel box. Okay, let's start with the half square triangles. I'm going to draw a diagonal line, and I'm going to do this on the back of my red one because it's a little bit lighter than the other. I'm going to leave a pencil width. I'm going to put my ruler a pencil width away from the very, very corner. That way there's some, that way when I draw my line, it is right in the corner. If you put your ruler right in the corner and then go to draw your line, it's going to be over just a little bit. It just makes sense. Okay, that's done now. I've got my line drawn, and I'm going to line that up really nicely. And then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch on either side of that line. Okay. That's one side. And I'm going to flip it around and sew down 1/4 inch away from the line on the other side. There we go. Now I'm going to take and split that in 2. And I could take this to the cutting board, but I've got my scissors right here. So I'm going to use them. There we go. Now we're going to press towards the darker color. So that's going to be the blue or purple. I can't tell if it's blue or if it's purple. I think it's blue. I don't know. My daughter will have to tell me. Savannah will probably leave a note. It's blue, Mom. Or it's purple. I don't know. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to square those up using my block lock ruler. Let's see if you can see it if I come right there. Just really simple. Like so. Get that out of the way. Spin it. This literally just takes seconds to do. Okay, that's one block done. Get this guy over here. Turn that around. All right. I have made 3 other blocks, 3 other of the jewel box already. That way when we get done with this one, we can put 4 of them together to make a larger pattern, and that'll really show up the design well. Okay, here we go. That's 2 of our half square triangles done. I'm going to move that back out of the way, get rid of my before I throw them all on the floor. Throw them on the floor. Okay, those are ready for our next step. Now we're going to set these up. I'm going to do let's see, got to go this way. My lighter color, my darker color, like that. Okay, and I'm going to do that twice. So I'm just going to put those over like that. Then we just pick these 2 up and go through the machine. I think I'm going to put a leader in. And I'm going to do a nice kind of a scant half or 1/4 inch seam right there. Like so. This block comes together really quickly. That's a little bit crooked there. All right, come on, work with me here. There we go. And one more. Okay, those are done. Now we're going to get all of those pressed to the darker color. Set some seams here. Okay. I think I'll set them all up in a row. I'm going to turn them like that and just get them pressed open with my fingers so that they're all ready for the iron. Like so. Okay. There we go. There. Now I just put them back here like that, and all of my seams are going to nest. Now I'm going to turn them here. I'm going to put this stack over here and this stack over here. That way I can just pick one of each up. Well, I didn't press that very well, did I? What kind of job is that? There we go. All right. Put that right there. Nest the seams nice and tight. And just put that right through the machine. Do that again. Nest my seams. There we go. Okay. Cut those apart. Now I am going to, when opening these up, I could just press the seam open, but I'm going to do that little thing where you break that apart like that, pop a couple of stitches, and then kind of put them in a pinwheel little thing there in the center. Okay, and I'll show you that in just a second. Let me get it pressed. And I'm going to press it from the back first to get it started, and then I'm going to lay it down on the front side like that. Okay. And that's what that looks like from the back. Okay. Okay, now let me do that to this guy. So again, you just kind of pop those stitches. You go one way with one and the other way with the other, like that. I hope I had that in view. So then you have this fun little 4 patch there in the center. Press that down. Okay. Very cute. Now let's make our row goes like, no, this one goes over there and that one goes over there like that. And then I've got the reds going next to it like that. Okay, now we're going to put these together. Super, super simple. And right here. Okay. There we go. Now I'm going to press away from the little 4 patch. Okay, so I'm going to press towards my half square triangles like so. Put him right back there. Get my other one down here. And now we're ready to sew those two together. Okay, there we go. Put my leader in. Okay. Now again, you could press your seams open, or you could press them, do what I did earlier, which would be to pop those seams like that. But doing that, if I popped the seams in the middle and had that seam going that way and that seam going that way, then they'd be pressed towards this bulkier area. So I'm just going to press that one open. I'm going to press it open. And that's always a little bit fiddly for me. I don't know why. This is one of my least favorite things to do in the pressing world, is to press my seams open. I love the look and the what you get to achieve with your seams pressed open. I just don't like doing it. Suck it up, right? There we go. And I'm going to take and press this all from the front now. And there is our jewel box. Now let's take it over to the design wall where I've got the other 3 already up, and we're going to look at the different ways we can put it all together. So now you can see the 4 pieces that I've got pulled together. This is our block unit, and putting 4 of them together, this makes a little bit of an X if you put it in this configuration, and you can really see the jewel tones and why you want to do contrasting colors. I think I maybe could have had a little bit more contrast between these 2, but I like this. Let's see what it looks like if we do something different here. What if we did that? No. Yeah, that. Now we've got them in rows. What is that? Oh, that's striking. That's striking. I like that too. Let's try one more. Let's try it this way. This is going to make more of a square than an X. Oh, I had that one right. Let's see what we think about that one. Oh, I like that too. You can really feel how it would make a jewelry box if you did it in, if you were doing a jewelry box in more of a geometric design. Let's see. Let's go back to the square one more time. I think I like the no, this is the X. Let's go back to the X one more time. I think I like the X and the square better than I like the lines. Probably because this is just a smaller piece. You know, I think I like this setup the best. Let me go sew those together and I'll be right back. Well, here she is. She's all done. And I really can see how that could be considered a jewelry box, right? I love how literally they said in a lot of the literature that I was reading, you make that out of jewel tones because it's a jewelry box. I thought that was kind of fun. And it really does look a lot more complicated than it is to make. This is just a 4-patch and a half square triangle. We all know how to make 4 patches and half square triangles. So you can get a really neat looking quilt. Can you imagine this duplicated a number of times? And you would have all kinds of other patterns going with this. Very, very fun to do. Hey, if you like this episode of It's Just a Block, please like, share, and subscribe. Do all the things that make that algorithm sing. And until next time, stay quilting. Bye.